Hello again, everyone. This is the KMN 1971, back again with another comic book haul. I hope everyone had a great week out there of hustling, bustling, and chasing the American dream, and of course, buying some comic books. Like many of you, I'm sure that you were pleased to see the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer a couple of days ago. I think it was dropped on Friday. And for me personally, my big geek out moment was just that simple scene of seeing Spider-Man swinging alongside of Iron Man while he was flying through New York City, both of them together. A panel that many of us have seen on the comic page multiple times over the years, but it was just outstanding to see that translated onto film. Okay, so starting off with today's comic book haul, World's Finest #2 from Dave Gibbons and Steve the Dude Rude. As I said last week, I really enjoy picking up these square-bound prestige format books from mostly like the 80s in dollar bins. So until I say otherwise, all the books that I'm going to be showing you are books that I scavenged from the dollar bins. So I had issue #1 of this, so it's great to pick up issue #2 and issue #3 from the dollar bin. The Golden Age #2. I won't touch this until I complete the miniseries, but this has been on my list for a while. It's by James Robinson and one of my favorite artists of all time, Paul Smith. And this is basically the miniseries that put the JSA back on the map and made them contemporary yet again for a quote-unquote modern audience. Cosmic Odyssey #1 by Jim Starlin and Mike Mignola. Another series another story rather, that I wanted to read before and never had gotten around to it. But to pick these once again up from a dollar bin, it's just too good a deal to pass up, especially in high grade. I guess this story has been criticized before by fans of Jack Kirby's New Gods, that Jim Starlin was a little bit too. He didn't really stay true to Jack Kirby's incarnation of the New Gods, which I'm not an expert on the New Gods, so going into that, I enjoyed this story. Jim Starlin, I'm biased towards his work, especially his cosmic storylines, and Mike Mignola. Who doesn't like Mike Mignola? So I enjoyed the storyline, especially for a grand total of $4. I don't think you can go wrong. So here's #2, #3, and #4. Punisher Annual #1 from 1988. This is from his first volume. Some 80s Mutants goodness. The New Mutants #19. Like I said, these books don't go for a heck of a lot, but I'll just continue to pick them up in high grades at very low prices, especially if they're from the Chris Claremont and Bill Sienkiewicz. Sienkiewicz? I'm not really sure. But just, this is one of those great runs, especially to get at a discount. So, 19, #20, and #21. Cool stuff. Uncanny X-Men 184. This is the first appearance of Forge. And once again, I'm still chipping away at that Ultimate X-Men, Uncanny X-Men run of issue 94 to the end of the Claremont run in, I believe it's like the 280s. 185. 191. And as I also said last week, X titles were never available to me as a teenager in what I called the dollar bins, but after reflecting on it for a little while, after I watched these videos, I kind of remembered back when I was a teenager, they weren't dollar bins, they were quarter bins. So, yeah. Uncanny X-Men 192. and 194. So always happy to pick those up. X-Force 11. The first appearance of the real Domino. I'm not so sure about that, and I don't even really care about that debate. But the only reason I picked this up is because it's an early Deadpool appearance. X-Force number 19. This is the first appearance of Copycat. I consider it more to be more of a cameo appearance, but what are you going to do? And Cable number 3, which we all know now as the first appearance of Weasel. And that was the end of the dollar book specials. These were only, obviously, you could probably find these in dollar bins, but these were like $2 or $3. So the Punisher number 28, as some of you may have guessed already, I am a bit of a Punisher fan, and you will see Punisher titles of some sort in a lot of these comic book hauls. So Punisher number 28, this is a tie-in to the Acts of Vengeance storyline that ran through the Marvel titles in, I want to say, the late 80s. So the Punisher, surrounded by doom, that is a cover that just draws you in. As is this one, the rematch with Doom, with all those Marvel heroes. I mean, I never read these, so I'm very curious to see what the story is with this. Seems fun, though. And speaking of fun, Doctor Strange number 3 from the current ongoing series. I just recently, within the last probably within the last month, I saw the Doctor Strange movie, and then I ended up picking up the first issue of this series, mainly for the Wando variant, and I also picked up the Newberry Comics variant. And I ended up really digging the read, which shouldn't surprise me, seeing the creators that are involved. But my Marvel pull list is at an all-time low right now. All I have on there is Deadpool, Spider-Man and Deadpool, and Star Wars. That's it. I also have Miracle Man, but it's on hiatus, and technically Star Wars and Miracle Man aren't traditional Marvel Universe titles. So anytime I do find something that comes out from Marvel, I'm pleasantly surprised, and I try to latch onto it. So I thought this series was really good, and I'm giving it a whirl now. So here's Doctor Strange number 3. Number 4. And number 5. Let's see if I can do something with a little bit of this glare. There we go. Sorry about that. Alright, on to the Bronze Age. It wouldn't be a KMN 1971 haul without some Bronze Age goodies in there. So, Doctor Strange number 37. No real significance to this. It's just more nostalgia for me. This was the first Doctor Strange comic book that I ever read as a youngster. Came out in 1979, so that means I was probably 7 years old. So yeah, I want to say that while this story was entertaining, it probably spooked me out a little bit as a kid. And for some reason or another, I didn't really gravitate towards Doctor Strange for a long time. I always liked him as a character, but I never really read his ongoing title. But I ended up reading this, and I did find it entertaining yet again. So it was a pretty cool pickup. I forgot that I owned this too. When I was just flipping through the Doctor Strange back issues, I came across it, and it sparked a flashback that, oh my god, I used to own this book back in the day. So it's still a really cool cover too. Conan number 45, just a really high grade. Look at that white cover right there. I mean, nothing really special about it, but I am a big Conan fan. I haven't showed off any Conan books in a while, so really great condition for a white cover and from the era that it came. Still working also on my Adventures on the Planet of the Apes run, Adventures on the Planet of the Apes number 8. This is still their adaptation of Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I would say this is in fine-minded condition, as is with this one. Adventures on the Planet of the Apes number 9. A serious spine roll. but I don't think it's necessarily a spine roll because the book is not warped at all. But as you can see, the way that it's wrapped, the 3 for the 30 cents is actually on the other side of the cover. But for the price, I could not complain at all. I try not to complain. Okay, moving on. I am a big Captain Marvel fan. I do own the Jim Starlin run on this title and probably the first 4 issues and a couple of other Silver Age issues. So now I'm at the point that anytime I find them at a decent price and at a decent grade, I just try to pick them up. So, Captain Marvel number 41, going against Ronan the Accuser. Number 46. Number 50, which is an anniversary issue, guest starring the Avengers, going against the Super Adaptoid. Number 57, which is an old school Marvel slugfest. It was actually really good. And number 58, another classic Marvel, hero battles hero and team up at the end. Worked so many times, and it works effectively yet again in this issue. I really love this Captain Marvel Silver Age, Bronze Age series. It was really good. It only ran for, I believe, like 62 issues. So definitely collectible, and something that I would like to eventually add back to my PC. It was one of those very first runs that I used to collect back in the day. And unfortunately, along with my Tomb of Dracula run, I sold off when I was younger. So it's great to get these back in the collection. Superman and Spider-Man. This is a reprint, actually, of I forget, it's one of those weird C-something 13, 14, one of those deals. And I'm just paraphrasing, something like that. It's just weird numbering, one of those weird DC Treasury-sized editions. And this is a reprint of that, which is actually a sequel to their first Treasury-sized edition of Superman versus Spider-Man, which I do own the Treasury edition of, but I don't have the comic book size reprint, which I'm still on the hunt for. And in this case, I do own the comic book size reprint, but I'm still on a hunt for a decent grade on the Treasury edition. That was tough to get out. Wonder Woman number 1 from the New 52 era. Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chiang, great. I mean, this was a great issue. I would like to say that I'm going to pick up the rest of the run, and I will eventually. It's on the list, but I am so far behind in my back issue reading right now. Between my local comic book shops, one of my local comic book shops has been having a half-price sale for the last 3 or 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. And between that and Rebirth and having just about all of my monthly titles go from being monthly to bi-weekly, I've fallen behind on my reading for the first time in a while. So, and with the way I've been buying, it doesn't look like I'm going to catch up anytime soon. So, but this was still too good to pass up. And eventually I would like to pick up this run. Alright, speaking of said local comic book shop that's selling everything at half price, they had a run of Harley Quinn from Volume 1. All of these were marked at $5, so at half price, $2.50 a piece, and you cannot leave Harley Quinn issues from Volume 1 in high grade behind for $2.50 a piece. That's just a crime. So these were all on my list. I don't have many issues from our first volume. So number 26, number 27, number 28, $31, 32. Let's get some of these out of the way. 33. And he also had these Cable and Deadpool. Well, actually, it's Doctor Strange and Deadpool number 47. After Cable, quote unquote, died in the Cable and Deadpool title, it became kind of a Deadpool team up title, so to speak. And these last issues, the last issue was number 50. So the subsequent issues leading up to that issue are all supposed to be pretty low print run. Unfortunately, these look better in the bag than out, so there is a little bit of almost like, I don't know, a little waviness at the bottom. So I would knock these down to a fine. But once again, for $2.50 a piece, they were too good to pass up. So Cable and Deadpool number 47, guest starring Doctor Strange, and number 48, which features Brother Voodoo. All right. Here we have, also from the same sale, and also all of these were, until I say otherwise, were $2.50 a piece. Deadpool from his first ongoing series. And as I've said before, there are a couple of modern, quote-unquote modern series that I think are definitely worth seeking out. Deadpool Volume 1, Harley Quinn, obviously, Volume 1, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2, Gotham City Sirens, Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force. So to find these at a discount of like $2.50, I thought it was pretty cool. So number 21, number 22, 23, 24, and number 25. Very cool to get all those Deadpools and Harleys off of the list. This was not $2.50, but something that I'm very happy to add to my collection. Deadpool and Death Annual. This is, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say this is the first fleshed out origin of Deadpool. So this is something that I've really wanted to add to my collection for a while. It was a little over $20. It's a very fine plus, near mint minus. So I was happy to get that off of my Deadpool list. Justice League of America number 100, an anniversary issue, and a JLA JSA team up. So, and I've always been kind of curious about this issue. I believe in The Wizard, there was an interview with Brad Meltzer, who said this was one of his favorite old school Justice League of America stories. So I didn't really become a Justice League of America fan until the mid to late 80s when Giffen DeMatteis, Kevin Maguire, and Adam Hughes were on the title. And I've been a fan ever since, right from there to Grant Morrison, to Brad Meltzer, to Jeff Johns. So, yeah, I'm a big JLA fan, but I only probably have about 20 issues of the original Justice League of America titles, so it was cool to pick this up. And I almost went the whole haul without a variant. But the one variant that I do have in this haul, I think is pretty darn sweet. Done by my all-time favorite artist, Jim Lee. And this is the variant edition of Legion of Superheroes #1 from the 2010 series. I own this entire series. It was kind of underwhelming, a bit of a disappointment, but I've always wanted this variant cover. This is Jim Lee's version of Saturn Girl with the Mike Grell era Saturn Girl costume, Legion costume, and book that's been tough to get. I had to go to eBay to get it. I ended up getting it at a pretty good deal, and I've never seen this out in the quote-unquote wild, so very happy to add this to my collection. So, like I said, nothing groundbreaking in this particular haul. I have to be a little bit more conservative with the holidays right around the corner. But I feel this is a pretty solid haul, just solid stuff. If you're a fan of Deadpool, if you're a fan of Harley, if you're a fan of the X-Men, which I am a fan of all of those things. If you're a fan of the Bronze Age, which obviously I am a fan of. So I thought it was pretty cool haul. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy your week. I hope you get through the holidays. I'll be back with another haul talking about the holidays next week. And that's all I have. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for just chilling out and let me ramble about comics yet again. All right. Have a great week. Take it easy. See ya.